Hey there, it's Blair here at Time Trades. Thanks for joining me this weekend. Today is Sunday, June 4th, and this is your weekly video. I'm going to do a little shorter video than usual today, just going to cover the NASDAQ and crypto. Not a lot has changed in my forecast from prior weeks, so that's the reason for shortening things up a little bit. But I do want to share something in terms of I guess just analysis technique and kind of slowing things down a little bit, taking a look at higher time frames and trying to pick up on some of the information that that's giving us. So what you're looking at here is a 2-day chart of the NASDAQ. And one of the things I want to draw your attention to is where the GANFANs cross. We went over this chart last week. The two GANFANs that you see here are anchored to Mars cycles. And we also have fib retracements that start at the all-time high and go to the October low. So those are the lines on the chart. Now, one of the things that I noticed here is that when the GANFANs cross, right, when you've got this cross here between the older fan and the fan coming down from the all-time high, we typically see a pretty strong reaction. So starting with at the end of May 2022, that was pretty close to a top. The next cross over here was October 5th. That was a short-term top, and then it got rejected from the combination of these two fans. And then, of course, there was a second cross over here. So we had two crosses in 2 days. So that explains a lot of the volatility around there. Moving forward, we've got another cross over here on December 19th. That's probably a little bit closer to a low than a high. Then prices continued to go down, but then they regained this GANFAN over here on January 5th, and of course took off. So where's the next cross over here? Well, we can see a cross here between this blue and purple that pretty much tagged this top in mid-December. And then we can come along here and we can see the next cross is February 3rd, and that tags this top here on February 1st. It was right at the 382, okay? And let's zoom in a little bit more, maybe drop down to a daily time frame. And what else do we see here in terms of GANFAN crosses? We see the next one over here, February 2nd, okay? Pretty good top right there. And this got rejected on the pink level, which is 382 again, okay? And then come across here. Where's the next cross? It looks like it's this one. May 11th. What happened here? Not too much, but then we got this big cross over here on May 17th. Between the two 3x1s, 3x1 up and 3x1 down. And that to me is what really triggered this this boost up from a GAN analysis standpoint. Of course, you know, the news is the news, but simply being above its major moving averages, trend going higher, and then we get these GANFAN crosses. That to me was in hindsight, with the benefit of hindsight here, the trigger. And we could see in the future, what do we have coming up? Do we have any major crosses coming up? Well, let's see here. I don't really see any major GANFAN crosses coming up until we get over to September. All right, so that looks like an area of likely pivots over here. And then, of course, we've got our target box over here, October 10th, okay? So that's our target box, that's our target level. As far as the forecast goes, I'm still sticking by this forecast for a correction in June. And we've come a long ways very quickly. We also have some news catalysts coming up this week. We've got unemployment claims on Thursday, and of course, following week is huge with CPI, PPI, and FOMC all together. If we turn on the time trades indicator here, we can start to look at things like the Gann waves. These are the yellow and blue lines here. And the Gann waves are telling us that it looks like this blue line is going to invert. It looks like we're going to get a high on Monday. And then if that inversion does indeed come to pass, then that tells me that the low is likely going to be around the next blue on Monday, July 3rd. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing here is just going to be updating this target box to reflect, it's kind of an annoyingly broad range, but I really feel like we've got, with all these news catalysts coming, we've got an opportunity for some volatility and correction within the broader bull market that we're seeing here. So let's adjust it. I want to pull this over a little bit. I want to include the 6th of July because that is perihelion, the Earth's furthest point from the sun. Often you see inflection points around there. We've got the 26th of June as the start of our target box. That's fine. That also aligns with a Gann wave 0. That's the dashed green line. That's the midpoint of the cycle. But I also want to pull this up a little bit to include like the 50% retrace and this orange magic level here. So it's a pretty wide box. We've got, 13,620 on the top down to like 13,000, 12,950 or so on the bottom. So that's quite a broad range in both time and price. I think that's reflective of some of the volatility that we can potentially see here. The other reason for this box being where it is really want to see a retest of these two EMAs. These are the 103 and 144. Often when these EMAs cross, you will almost always get a retest of them at some point in the future. So that is overdue. But any sort of reduction or drop in price heading into late June, early July is ultimately going to be a very good buying opportunity, because if we zoom out a little bit and take a look at the Gann fans here, it's pretty clear which fan is in control. Let me just turn off time trades so it's not as cluttered. And it's this one here. The upper guardrail is this light blue. The lower one is the thick green. And, any opportunity to buy into the market below the midpoint. So the midpoint over here on July 5th is going to be at about 13,800. So any opportunity to accumulate below the midpoint of this fan is going to be an excellent opportunity, especially since we've got our target, our foldback target up here in the 15,500s. So this is an opportunity to accumulate any volatility or any correction this month, anticipating higher prices heading into the fall. Okay, so that's the assessment there for the NASDAQ. Let's just take a quick look at crypto before we sign off this week. So we're going to flip over to Bitcoin. We're going to use some of the ideas that we talked about on the NASDAQ. So we were talking about crosses of Gann fans here. And in this case, in Bitcoin, we've got three major fans. We've got a fan down here in the November low. We've got this fan here that starts at 0 underneath the November low. And then we've got these lines coming down from the all-time high. Okay. And again, you can see where the lines cross, those crosses are happening at some major points, right? At some major inflection points, right? So up here, we've got a major crossing point. Let's go and take a look at the last major cross. This one on January 15th indicated the end of, or at least a pause in this initial move up. Here's almost a triple cross here around February 5th and 6th, indicating a short-term top. Here's a cross here around March 2nd and 3rd, and that triggered a bigger drop. And then, of course, up here we've got we've got a cross here, March 18th, 19th. So that was close to a top. But the actual top came in here on March 24th, and this was another cross between the this purple fan coming down and the fan coming up from zero. Another cross here came very close to getting this minor spike high. So you get the point, right? We just had a cross over here on the 28th, 29th of May, and you can see what happened there. Again, another pivot, hugely important. So when's our next cross? Oh, interesting. It's coming up here June 6th and 7th. So my guesstimate forecast is that this will indicate a pivot low. And you can see here how there's an opportunity here for a move up. We're right at the 618, and this is an opportunity for us to take advantage of some volatility around the 6th and 7th. You can see some of the markings here on my chart from some of the little scalp trades that I've been taking long. So you can see there's an opportunity here to take advantage of this next Ganfan cross on the 6th and 7th. Let's take a look at what Time Trades is saying around that time. So if we zoom in here, we've got our Ganfans on. I'm going to turn those off because we already talked about those. And let's see if we have some indications of a pivot around this time. And yes, we do, right around June 6th. We've got a very small probability of a pivot low right around June 6th. Okay. So this is aligning with the crossing of the Ganfans that we see on the chart. So there's an opportunity, I think, for a small or short-term move in Bitcoin. We see another pivot high over here in the June 16th timeframe. So that could be our exit opportunity. But I'm looking at this as a potential move. I'm assuming it's going to not invert and be a move up at this point, but you never know until it actually happens. You always have to be aware and alert for those potential inversions. I have to say it would be a little unusual if Bitcoin were to pump while stocks are dropping. That would be a little unusual. So there's a possibility that these invert and that June 6th is indeed a high and June 16th is a low. Okay, so be aware of that. But it looks like we're coming into an area of opportunity here for Bitcoin where we could get about a 10-day move out of this. So that's it for me for this week. I hope you had a great week trading. Make sure you trade safe and manage your risk this coming week. We're about to get an injection of volatility in the market with all of the news coming out. So that's going to catalyze some moves. And we need to make sure that we protect our capital and make some money at the same time. That's it for me. Thanks again. We'll talk to you later.